Hi everybody, Dimitri Bilgir here, another facilitation tip, and I want to talk to you today about working with resistant participants. If you've run workshops or weekends where every person gets some time to do their own personal work, you will know this feeling of somebody who's resistant, and generally speaking, they'll be the last one to go. Maybe through your whole weekend, it seems like they haven't really been getting it or they've been resisting. They dance you around when you're trying to work with them. They seem to answer questions very vaguely, or they'll answer one way and then the next second they're answering it the opposite way. They don't seem to really want anything in particular except for to make it through the process, and you just get the feeling this person is dodging and hiding. And sometimes the external look of that is they're just very, very irritating. You might feel angry with them, but if you look a little deeper, you'll see that they're actually very scared, which is why maybe they're saying these sort of snippy remarks, stuff like that. But often step out last, often when you and your team are very, very tired, you're ready to be done, and suddenly they're very, very complicated. Now, the key to this process, the key to handling this person is mercy. And if you have mercy for this person, you'll be able to take a merciful approach. Now, back in the old days, we didn't really have the concept of mercy because we didn't want to sell the person out, especially like on men's weekends. This would be the guy who maybe we'd all yell at or apply a lot of pressure to or spend like hours with when obviously they hated every minute of it. But there's a better way to handle this. And I know a lot of guys know it already because I've been spreading it around as much as I can, but I want to let you know today too. Here's how to handle a very resistant participant who's often the last person to go on your workshop. I'm going to talk about it in the context of men because I've done it mostly on men's weekends. So you've got this guy out and he's there to do his work, but he's dancing us around. He's being snippy. He's being difficult. So here's how I start with this. Start by asking, have you had the experience in your life of feeling like you had to perform for men in order to be accepted? And he'll say yes, because, spoiler alert, that's exactly what's happening when you're trying to get him to do what everybody else did. So he'll say, yes, I have felt like I have to perform for men in order to be accepted by them. So, okay, has anybody else here ever felt that way? Like you have to perform for men in order to be accepted by them. And everybody else is going to raise their hand because they've felt it too. And so all these like guys who are on your staff or other participants who are in the room who've been feeling more and more irritated with this man will start to feel a sense of connection. Like, wait a minute, we actually do have something in common. And so then you say, well, how would it be okay with you? Would you be interested in exploring the shadow of yours of being loved and accepted by men even without having to perform for them? And I say, well, I guess that sounds okay. Because here's what's happening here. Big picture is, from your point of view as a facilitator, you want this person to get the same great breakthrough that everybody else got, standing in their power or something like that. But this is a different case. This is a guy who your entire weekend's been looking around saying, all right, if I'm going to survive this, I have to make these guys like me. Well, that's high school again, or grade school again. That's locker room again. That's exactly what we're trying to not do. So you say to this guy, okay, so would it be okay with you to explore the shadow of the part of you that that has felt like they've had to perform for men in order to be loved? He'll say yes. Say, okay, great. So here's the thing about this process. It's going to look different than any other process you've seen today. Because what you have to do is not try. We're going to put you in a position where men here are going to give you love and acceptance, but I don't want you to perform for it. I don't want you to really try to accept it. I don't want you to try to have a big emotional experience. I don't want you to try, you've seen guys like cry and scream and stuff. I don't want you to have to feel like you have to do any of that. Because that's not always what men need. Sometimes men just need to be loved the way they are and to see that that's possible. So then he'll say, yeah, all right, that sounds good. Because he starts wiping his brow, right? It's like, I thought I was going to have to do something I really hated and didn't want to do. So then what we do is you take control, you lead the process, say, here's what I'd like to do. I'd like to do a cradle. I'd like to have men hold you in their arms and say affirming things to you while you have no obligation to take it in or not, right? You want to keep playing both sides of this. You can take this in, you cannot take this in. I'll love you either way. So you set up a cradle, or maybe everybody puts their hands on him. I like the cradle here. And just let him relax into that, put on some music, and have men say loving and accepting things to him. And then after they've done that for a while, and occasionally you chime in and say, no matter what your experience with this is, notice that it's okay. All right? Because we have to let go of trying to get him to have a big crying breakthrough if we want to congruently be merciful to him exactly the way he is. Because when we party with his facility, it's like, God, I hope this works. I hope this works. I hope he'll start crying. Right? You got to let that go. We want to love him exactly the way he is. And kind of the reason for that is, for a lot of our weekends, they have follow-up groups that men can get into. Women, too, have follow-up groups you can get into. What we want is for this guy to have a win so that then he wants to join the follow-up group where he can continue to, at his own pace, deepen into healing his own wounds. If we push him, if we beat him up, if we make him be like everybody else in order for him to experience some acceptance, he's never going to your follow-up group. He's done with you. And I think that's a terrible loss. So we just want to hold him, give him that. The two errors that I see that men make in this process when they're doing this, facilitators, one, they'll still try to get him to earn it. I've seen men do this, but they do a trust fall first. You can do that if you want to, but there's a way in which he's still having to do something in order to be loved. He's having to let go and trust. Just kind of from the orthodox point of view on that, that's asking him to do something we don't want to ask him to do. So you can do it if it feels right, but I think asking him to do something is a mistake. And secondly, the leader will be like, take that in, take that in. No, you don't want to be saying that. You're going to say, it's okay if you take it in, it's okay if you don't take it in. Notice how men here love you, whether you take in this blessing or not. Have men say nice things to him, have him stand up, have him have an affirmation, something very simple, like, wow, it looks like men love me no matter how I am. And that'll start to open that door for the light to start to go into his heart, that unconditional love is possible. He is unlikely to have a huge breakthrough here. But if we can get that, just crack that open a little bit. The difference between being completely closed to love and acceptance and a little bit open, that's infinite. That's a lot. And that's all we really want to do. We want to get this started in the participants so they can follow up with us and continue to deepen more into being loved exactly the way they are over time. So like I said at the beginning, this is about mercy. This process is about loving them exactly the way they are. And the merciful part is even when they can't take that love in, you love them anyway. So hopefully they have a dream that night where something happens, or their heart starts to shift, or they notice they're a little bit more open in their lives. Or even like the rest of your workshop, they seem a little bit more relaxed, like maybe they're not so on edge. So anyway, I'm doing this every day, every weekday, doing facilitation tips. There's a way that you can be notified if you want. Please share this. Please ask questions or make comments. If you've seen a resisting last person process, you want to tell me about it, say something about it in the comments, and I will see you all tomorrow. Oh, I should add, if you want me to send you a write-up of the resisting last participant process, say so in the comments and I'll send it to you. All right, bye.